Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid. I'm your host, Jake Thomas, and I am freaking pumped right now for this guest today. Holy smokes. He's coming to us from the other side of the world, from tomorrow night, because he's plus 13, plus 14 in the time zone. He's 42 years old, and he's somebody that has embraced a low-carb, high-fat lifestyle since January 2010. So he's coming up on 15 years of doing that. Initially, just wanted to kind of plan and test some things in the low-carb space compared to what he was originally doing as an athlete and as an avid runner in particular. But he found such drastic improvements during his experimentation that it kept him to stay there ever since. And most recently in September of last year, this Australian guy, ran 5 marathons in 5 days consecutively, and he did so fasted. His first marathon was on a Wednesday. His final meal was on Tuesday, the evening before, and he did not finish until 5 days later with 5 marathons in a row, and did not have a meal again until after that 5th race day. Holy smokes. And I thought I was cool. Without further ado, again from the other side of the planet, the man, Alex McDonald. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you very much, Jake. I'm so excited to meet you and chat with you today.
Dude, I feel like this has just been coming. You know, like I feel the algorithm has gotten you and I to this meetup point about like talking about fasting and dry fasting and racing fasted and without, carbs and pushing that envelope and disruption in the race world. Like, dude, let's just go right to that stake of an item. 5 marathons, 5 days fasted. What the fuck?
Yeah. So look, one thing, thanks for the intro. One thing I'll just correct you on there in terms of being an avid runner or this being a big part of my life. I'm absolutely not a runner at all. I chose marathons as a way to demonstrate what I'd learned. So, and to give you an idea, before my 5 marathons, I'd never run a marathon before. So my first ever marathon was the first marathon of doing
this
5.
Fucking guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I really love you. Holy shit, man.
So it was a very punchy goal, but the big question is, why would I do such a thing? Like what sort of drove me to do that? And the answer came from when I dug into the science quite a bit around our body's metabolism and how we function. The big sort of light bulb moment was learning that we actually we can access literally 50 times more energy from our fat stores than what we can from, call it, our carbohydrate or our glycogen stores. So that was a big thing because I'm like, right, the whole world is wedded to the idea of carb loading. So let's sort of jam as many carbs in before an event to ensure we have enough energy to get through. Now, what I learned was it doesn't matter how many carbohydrates you have, the maximum amount of call it glycogen or stored energy in the form of carbohydrates on your body is 2,000 calories. That's it. Doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, like that's your body's capacity. Now, on your fat stores, on the other hand, like I'm lean. I'm like 14, 15%, which that's according to DEXA, which may not sound that lean, but according to like age matched, I'm the top 3 percentile of like all males of 42. Sure. So I am lean. I don't have much on me, and my DEXAs sort of show that. And even still, I have, call it 100,000 calories of available energy on me. So I thought, right, if I've got 100,000 compared to my 2,000, and the whole world is wedded to the idea of only using this 2,000 calories, which is why you have to kind of eat and, have the gels and everything to keep you going to sort of top up because you tapped out on this fuel tank. I thought, well, look, if this is what the science says and there's a lot of evidence supporting it, how about there's only one way to test that out or to really prove it to myself, and that was like have a crack. So it wasn't a demonstration around, look, this is the best way to run a marathon. Not that wasn't my goal. Look, it may be, but I'm not a marathon runner. But it was, look, what can I do to demonstrate the enormity of those energy stores? So marathons was an easy one because, everyone knows how far a marathon is. It kind of clicks in the head. You say 5 and they're like, okay, that's a lot. And it was within my skill set, which is, look, everyone could run, walk. Like I wasn't doing it particularly fast, but it was about just covering that distance and just proving, what is possible once you adhere to a different playbook of like outside of that sort of carb loading paradigm.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's the truth about the boundless and essentially endless supply of energy that you have, that is your body, that
Yeah.
people don't understand. It's like you're taking things to load on you. You can only carry so much externally, right? Like the
Mm.
same thing with water, the same thing with if you're wearing a vest, if you're a combatant in the military, you can only carry so many magazines of ammunition. You might
Yeah.
want 10,000, but good luck
Mm.
lugging 10,000 rounds around, plus water on
Yeah.
top of that, plus maybe some food. You're going to be so weighed down, you're not going to be able to fight.
Yeah.
Similarly, here in the race world, not that it necessarily weighs a ton, the gels and powders and whatnot, but the
Mm.
need to have to refuel continuously
Yeah. Yeah.
compared to I'm literally just wearing this suit. And even like you said, no
Yeah.
matter how lean you are, you're still going to have more than 2,000 calories worth of energy to burn.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow, like why wouldn't you try to do that? But our conditioning is thick nonetheless. So for you, what, when did you decide this is going to be my Magna Carta experiment, and say like, all right, it's going to be five, it's going to be it's not just going to be one marathon. It's going to be five, and it's going to be 5 in 5 days.
Yes.
I need to start training for this. How long beforehand? What was your training like? How did you start
Yeah.
adapting yourself? Obviously, you've been eating this way since 2010. You were probably already fat adapted, but obviously the marathon is a little bit different. So take us
Yep.
through those steps.
Yeah, sure. So the starting point was me becoming fat adapted. And like you said, I've been doing this for such a long time. And what I found was, look, the energy that I have just in my day to day is enormous. Like and from where I was when I was eating a mainstream diet, it's like light and day, like night and day, sorry, I should say, difference between the two. So I came from a place of saying, look, I've got so much energy here. And you tell people like, I've got a lot of energy, you really should try this. They're like, yeah, okay. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't really carry much weight. And I
No.
thought, look, what's a way that I can kind of demonstrate just sort of how much energy I really do have? Now, the idea for it, I have to send some credit to, there's a doctor in the UK called Dr. Ian Lake. He's a GP. He's a type 1 diabetic. And in 2020, he did, well, assembled a group of sort of 7 others. There were 8 of them that did. It was 100 miles in 5 days, completely fasted. So
Love it.
some of them, there was one guy that was like an ex-Olympian. At the other end of the spectrum, there was kind of like some mid-50-year-old mums and 2 of the participants, including Ian, were a type 1 diabetic. So he did this. He wrote a medical paper on it, and it was like, we're going to demonstrate, particularly as a type 1 diabetic, around
Sure.
managing blood sugars and the rest. What can we do? So I read that. I saw his story. I was like, man, that is just so awesome. Like, I just love that.
Yeah.
And he's done it. He's done 100 miles, which is 4 marathons in the 5 days. And I thought, you know what? This is what a perfect way to demonstrate it. So next thing I did, I hit him up. I said, out of the blue, I just hit him up and said, Ian, like, I love what you did. Can you talk me through? Can you advise me on this is what I'm wanting to do? Is it possible? How was your experience? And really lent into him around the way to go about it, what to prepare. And then also I did lean into some of the doctors here in Australia that are sort of at the cutting edge of, call it in the low carb space. So my head doctor was Dr. Paul Mason. So
Nice.
some of your listeners may know Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
He's a beast, like mentally, like intellectually in this space, absolute machine. So having him in my corner as well was great around giving me the confidence that, look, am I doing this the right way? And look, is it possible? And not once was there even a conversation around, do you reckon this is, doable or not? It was like, man, you're going to crush this. This is super easy. Let's just make it as easy as possible for you. And so that was really great. Just having kind of my rock star team. I had a bunch of others as well that were helping me to make sure that, like I said, I was doing it the right way. So that was the inspiration, and being able to do it. It was like, well, once you've done it, it's really I find it's a really powerful example of like cutting through the arguments around, is it possible, is it not, like, are these energy reserves real? It's like, well, if I did 1 marathon fasted, you kind of go, yeah, but you're an extreme athlete, or you've just sucked it up, or you pushed harder than most, so that's it. You do 2 or 3 and you do, but 5 is kind of getting to that point where it's like, I can't argue with this anymore. And the reason I did it fasted was purely to demonstrate, to remove any possibility that I was getting energy anywhere else but from my body. Like, there was no exogenous source of energy whatsoever, so it must be coming from my body. So it was a definitive way to prove that look, you can cover that distance, you can cover that workload over that time. And look, there are guys that have done that distance. Like there are guys that have done back-to-back marathons for 6 months. Like,
Sure.
and I'm not comparing myself to them, but what it is it's not just the distance; it's a 5-day period of fasting as well. So forget the marathon; it's just doing a 5-day period of fasting. A lot of people would
Sure.
balk at that and
Oh,
say,
yeah.
"Well, look, man, I couldn't even just do that if I'm sitting on the couch all day." So combining those two was just a really, I think, neat way of sort of jamming that home of like, this is a real thing. Like we need to capture people's attention, and maybe we should look into this and look beyond, call it the standard carb loading sort of approach.
Oh God, dude. Oh, that's just awesome. That's freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm the guy that's done the one marathon, fasted, and been like, but 5 in a row, Christ. And like you said, so much about this lifestyle, whether it's low carb, ketogenic, carnivore, in particular with athletic performance, like you said, you can only tell people so many times how you feel.
Yeah.
You can only brag about it. Even when they ask you like, Alex, how'd you do it? Like, well, this is how I've been eating since 2010. Yeah, whatever. What's the secret, Alex? I eat steak and eggs and, a little bit of this and that, beef mince, but whatever. You can shrug it off. I've got my political objections, my cultural objections, my religious objections, societal, familial, all these reasons why I don't need to do it and why I'm right. And even if you've got a good point, you're still wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
But when you put up numbers, well, now we're talking about merit. And I love merit because merit is irrefutable. Yeah. You have to look at that scoreboard, and no matter how twisted your point of view might be, no matter how loyal your reasoning is to all those things I just listed, you look at a fucking scoreboard and it's like, this guy ran these 5 races on these days at these locations. Here's the numbers. He didn't eat anything. The tape doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Right. And dare I say, I'm sure you still had some haters and some naysayers after the fact.
Still do. People are so wedded to their views around this, but that's the beauty of, and why I try to be very open about it. So all my data, everything, so Strava and the rest, like people will say, look, you didn't run very fast. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't the point, and I've never run it before. So, but that's not it. I'm just saying all my data is out there, and it's like data is real. So when people say, I look forward to I've had some of these conversations where it's like, no, it's not possible. And going into it, everyone said, man, you're not going to be able to do this. But for anyone to say, look, it's not possible what you're doing, look, it's all a hoax, it's all quackery, to then say, well, hang on, I did it. Then all of a sudden, what do? Like you got nowhere to go from there except that it is possible. And what I hope is trying to inspire people to go, you know what, let's look into this a little bit more. And I don't care if you're the world's best scientist or you're the mum and dad sort of that's not really interested in either fitness or just your everyday person. Punching out numbers like that and achieving what I did, I'm hoping cuts through all of that and goes, you know what? Like, forget the marathons. Like, if I'm able to tap into that amount of energy, how could I use that in my day? Like, people are like, man, I have to have my breakfast, and then I'm looking at the clock and I have to go, geez, it's only 11 and I have to go another hour till lunch. Like, how am I going to survive? Yeah. It's like, man, if you just, switch your thinking around this, get fat adapted, you'll get to the end of the day and go, I can't remember if I ate lunch yet or not, because there's been no signal to tell me that like I'm hungry, like my body's not craving any energy because it's got more than enough that it needs. So I'm just hoping that we can sort of move our way forward to open our thinking a little bit, and it feels like a superpower. So I want to share that with everyone. Like, please tap into it, guys. Like it's a real thing.
It's amazing. It's funny. Like you say, superpower. There's nothing super about, in my opinion, like there's nothing super about it. This is status quo of a human being.
Yes.
This is normal. Everything else out there is deficit. Yep. Everything else out there is with drag. Everybody else is wearing a parachute behind their backs. Everybody else has a weight vest on, proverbially, or some of them literally, if they're obese and overweight and just set back, shadows of their former selves or their potential. And it's like, what you're doing, it's like, that's a freaking human being, yo. That is what a human being at status quo can do, at equilibrium, at optimal homeostasis.
Yes.
And it's like, we all look at you as a superhero and as a super being and as a freak of nature, and he's a one-off and he's an outlier. And from what it sounds like, you're saying like, no, like this is all of us. And that's a sentiment I share with you. Nothing,
Yes.
when anyone says like, that's crazy, Jake, why would you do that? That's insane. I don't know. Only you. I'm sure you hear that every fucking day,
Yeah.
Alex. I always tell people, I'm like, dude, no, like this potential ability is in all of us. Like nothing
Yeah.
of what I think I've ever done is extraordinary, is more as I think it's possible for anyone else to be able to do it. If, like you said, if they just tapped into it, if they just believed in that, to know that this is innate to
Yeah.
each of us. So like for you, you know, besides that, you finished the race and like, what are you thinking? Were you like, holy fuck? Like, I mean, obviously you're like, haha, I knew it, but was it just like this amazing, I mean, what was that feeling like, man?
Yeah, it was very satisfying. But just to like finish your point there, the way I think about it too, it's like there's that saying that look, in the world, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I love
it's
that.
that's kind of where I'm thinking. It's like the whole world, to to like really torture that analogy, has got their eyes shut, and I just happen to open one eye. Like imagine if you really attacked it. It's like I've done something that appears to be superhuman. But like you said, no, it's the status quo. It's just everyone's chosen to shut their eyes and like be working at a suboptimal level. So that's the exciting thing. It's like you don't have to do a lot to get this these abilities, and that's our status quo. That's how we should be. So, but to answer your question, yeah, look, when I finished, yeah, the level of satisfaction was huge. So it was a very aggressive goal. And look, having never run a marathon before, let alone 5, let alone fasted, it was like there was those moments of, this is pretty punchy. Like, am I going to get there? So realizing that, look, we've actually achieved this goal because it took a long time to plan and work my way up to it. Yeah, so that feeling, I dare say it's going to be a feeling I'll be chasing for the rest of my life now, because you cannot describe something like where you've just put all your energy and all your effort into something, and it was really hard. Like, I'm not going to pretend I did this like it was a walk in the park. Like, it's hard. I had to put my body through some stuff that it's never ever done before, and most people would never go into places I had to go to kind of just keep backing it up. But energy wasn't an issue. It was more like, man, my body's broken here because I've done more work than it had. I'd earned the right to be able to do. So the way that I describe that is like, okay, if you have set yourself a goal and say, like, this is the problem I want to solve. It's right, driving my car. Okay, I want to see how far I can drive on one fuel tank. And I might say, okay, I want to drive, 100,000 miles on one fuel tank, and I've solved that. Like, I've figured out that problem. That's fantastic. But what happens, like, you've worn your brakes and your tires out on that journey. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was me. Like, I wore my brakes and tires out like in 5 days. And that was the bit that I'm talking about. It was really hard because, joint pain, ligament pain, because, man, I just hadn't earned the right to do the years of training that it would require to be able to put my body through that level of volume. So, 131 miles it was all up. I think that's so 212 Ks, which is a touch more than a marathon each, because when you do a marathon by yourself, you go, let's run an extra, just an extra few hundred meters just to make sure that we didn't just fall short. And so I can't claim that I've run the full marathon each day.
Sure.
Yeah.
God, man. So for someone that's not an avid runner, what was your training like? What was your preparation phase? How long did you train for? And then once you started getting into them, take us through the races, take us through each day, what they were like, and what you were doing during them. Were you drinking water? Were you drinking water with salt? Did you have electrolytes? What was it like before getting started prepared, and then how'd you do it through?
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So there's the training I did, and now that I've done it, I would probably change a whole bunch of stuff, which we can probably get to later. But the training I did was, look, I was very clear on my objective, and I didn't want to sort of veer away from that. So I didn't want to fall into the trap of, right, let's just try and run as fast as I can here and get just bust it out because that's fun. It was, okay, my objective is purely cover the distance in the amount of time. So my training was, well, first thing, got to get the nutrition right. So I was super, super strict on pure carnivore, 0 carbohydrates for about 3 months prior. And remember, I already had a baseline fat adapted. I was there, but I just cut out stuff like coffee. I didn't even touch, like nothing at all. It was pure, just hardcore carnivore. Because of how aggressive the goal was, it was like, I don't want to, jeopardize my chances because, I just caved one day and went, I just had a little bit of something because I felt like it. It was like, no,
Yeah.
we're on here. And the beauty of that goal was it meant that I had to be super strict about it. I find if you set a really aggressive goal and make it public, then that keeps you really honest about your workload. I think it's a bit of a mental trick, a mental hack to get you where you need to be. So, and the training I did was like low and slow. So I was running to a heart rate the whole time. And where I wanted to be was targeting like a zone 2. So that's for anyone that's familiar with endurance training. It's kind of like that. They call it the fat burning zone, but it's that zone where look, you're working hard. It's not a walk, but it's a run, but you're sort of comfortable. You can still have a conversation while you're running. Is probably the easiest way to describe it. So my goal was like just stay at that level for 2 reasons. One is I can manage my, call it depletion of energy, because I'm like, is this real or not? It's never been done before, so I don't know. Hand on heart now, I was like, man, I'd do this again. I'd try and crush it. Like energy was never an issue. I barely even scratched the surface. So that was not even a worry. My real concern was injury. So I didn't want to pull muscles. And even all my training, every now and again, because you can't help it being, testosterone kicks in, you're like, right, let's just punch out a fast K and do something. I'd do that and blow up like calf muscle or one of my bigger muscles, and then I'd be out for 4 weeks. So in my training, so I thought, you know what, the last thing I want to do is to do that during my marathons, because again, my clear objective was cover the distance in the amount of time or the 5 days with the fasting. So I didn't want something else to jeopardize my me achieving that goal, which is not energy related. It's not being fat. Like it has nothing to do with what I'm trying to demonstrate. So low and slow was the plan, and how can we get there? And then look, onto the marathons. Once we got there, the big things were the only things I would consume was water and salt. And salt was definitely my superpower. So I did lean into, there's a guy, Sean Safanovsky, who's, or Sakanovsky, I should say, in South Africa. So he's an endurance cyclist, absolute beast. Like he pumps out numbers. Pumps out numbers that no one believes are even possible. So he's like at the limit for sort of, it goes for like 10, 11-hour rides. Like his average ride length is like 7 hours. Anyway, I was like, you're a beast, man. This is great. So I hit him up. I was like, hey, look, can I just pick your brain? How do you go about this? Like you're on a bike, I'm running, but what do you do? And he talked me through a lot of that. All my principles were sound, but he said, look, salt is his superpower. Like that's his secret. And he's like cranking it. So the guy intentionally wears black when he rides so that he can see how much salt he's got on his body that's been like sweated out, and that's kind of his measure. So he does that intentionally. So thanks to him and look, and my doctors as well, Dr. Paul and a bunch of others, they were like, yeah, got to keep the electrolytes high. And often people think electrolytes is like the sports drinks and that sort of stuff. Electrolytes is like it's salt, potassium, magnesium. Like forget all the sugar, all the other stuff. That's all it is. So keeping that really high. So to give you an idea, I was having between 6 to 8 teaspoons of salt per day. And I'd mix that in my water bottles. I'd have some with in capsule form. But the idea, just keep it high, because I don't want to get low on that. That would be difficult. So yeah, marathons. Look, first marathon was kind of like the Mike Tyson thing. Everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face, which was about 30 Ks in. I was like, man, my body was screaming at me. My knee was gone. I was like, oh, this is real. And look, what I wasn't expecting. So I did it in September here, obviously down under in Australia. That's like spring coming into summer, but it's still reasonably comfortable temperatures. And forgive me, I'm not great on the Fahrenheit, but it was a heat wave during that period. So in Celsius, it averaged between sort of 33 and up to 38 degrees, which is you're kind of like, I think that's kind of high 90s is where you're going. So I wasn't expecting that. No. So it was super hot. So yeah, end of marathon 1 was that moment of, okay, marathon's a really long way. Like I now know that, and I've got to bust out 4 more of these. So there was that moment, and I thought, okay, right, this is real. And so then, right, next day was right. We've got to back it up. So mentally, day 2 was probably the hardest, because it was like, okay, I now know how hard they are. I've got 4 of these bad boys still to go, and we just got to get it done. So the strategy then was like, okay, given how much pain I was in with my knee and hip at the time, it was like, okay, let's just one foot in front of the other. And I said to myself, like, you have no off switch. Like, if you just do not stop, you will get there. Like, end of story. There's just there's no other option. And there were a few other mental games that I had to play to kind of get me through just those kind of moments, because they're long. Like I'm running slow, sort of 5-6 hours, right? It's a long time on your feet. And look, I'm not running with a pack. Like I'm not running with a peloton. Like I'm running by myself with the first 4. So that was it. So, and look, as we went through, the other thing that really started to kick in was, so I tracked everything, and so including like my sleep. So I thought, look, I'm doing a lot of exercise here. I'd just be crashing at night. I'd just be absolutely wiped, and then I'd get up and go again. It was the opposite. Like once the ketones kicked in, man, I was so wired. Like I was pumped. Like I couldn't sleep. I wanted to do stuff. I was like buzzing. I'm like, no, I need to sleep because I got a marathon to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's the worst. And then the more you tell yourself, I have to sleep, so go to sleep, and then it gets harder, and then it's just like, this is a disaster. So every day got kind of a bit harder because I got with the sleep, because I was so wired. And I'm sure there was some, I'm putting my body through a lot of stress, so that didn't help either. But as the temperatures increased, it got significantly harder. The hottest of all the marathons was marathon number 4. And look, a funny story from that one was, where I was running around where they hold the Western Sydney Marathon here in Australia. And they actually hold a lot of triathlons out there as well. So picture marathon number 4 is a Saturday, and that actually shut the venue where I had been running, because they're hosting a triathlon. So I was like, that's fine. So I did a figure 8 loop. One sort of half of that figure 8 was around this where the triathlon is being held. And the other half was around, it's called the Nepean River, just right adjacent to where the course is. So I did a figure 8 because it made it a bit more interesting. So with the marathon or the triathlon being on, they actually shut the regatta centre. So I was limited to just running around the river. So now it was 38 degrees, and being a Saturday, they held a festival that day, and they were barbecuing, like smoking barbecue meats all day. Like, so I'm like, man, it's so hot. I'm 4 days in, haven't eaten, and they're smoking meat. I was like, and it was that moment of, and I'm sure you've had that in your own experience, where it's like, you know what, like throw something else at me here. Like I genuinely, like, what else can you throw at me? Because I'm not giving up and I'm doing this. Like, we're just going to keep going. So you have to laugh to yourself and go, you know what, like if I could have planned all the things that would have made this even harder, that they would probably be up there. But when you get through a day like that, the level of satisfaction is just that little bit higher than otherwise would have been had you not had those adversities thrown at you. So it's like, I appreciated every one of them. It's like, okay, come on, bring on something else here, because I'm in the zone now.
I was waiting for you to say, like, you're running by the river and a bunch of crocodiles ran out or something. I'd be like, fucking Australia, of course.
Oh, no, it did. Yeah, not crocodiles, but I had snakes. So I had some black snakes.
Like brown snakes?
No, black. So they're red-bellied black snakes. So they're one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. So I tell you what, when you're in the zone, like just running, like moving along, and then you see one of those guys coming at you, it's like...
Only in Australia, man. Oh, God, that's great. But yeah, like... Talking about what's his name? Stefanovsky, right?
Sakhanovsky,
yeah. His numbers are crazy. His FTP is amazing. His wattage, like, is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a bad mofo. That's awesome that you got to connect with him for sure.
Yeah.
Like, the barbecue and the heat and all that. It's like it makes you just kind of look up. Like when it happens to me, I just kind of give a nod to the gods, and I'm like, okay, like. You're funny, hilarious, but it's not stopping me. Like I'm like, oh, really? Freaking 40 degrees outside? Had to be. We had to have a heat wave this week. Oh, well, it's like, well, I guess we'll just have to cancel the event then. Not an option, right? So I'm like, well, the show's got to go on. And then, if I'm running and freaking red belly black snakes, I'm like, oh, anything else you guys want to throw at me? Fucking one of the most top 3 venomous snakes on the planet, like chasing me around here. And then, and some barbecue. Perfect. I'm not hungry at all on day number 4 of this. Like, what are there, fast cars and scantily clad women that are going to be popping up and, like what's next, right? Yeah, man, definitely been there. And then the other side of that is, Alex, just quit. Nobody's going to know. Yeah. It's okay. Just go have a bite. Nobody's going to know. Like you can sneak a bite in and nobody will know. Like I have that voice too. That voice of like, Jake, just Alex, your knee hurts, your fucking hip hurts. Just take a rest, man. Just stop. You don't have to keep going. You have nothing to prove, dude.
Yeah.
You've already run
No,
3 days. You've already done
I know
4
that
days.
voice. I know that
Yeah,
voice.
you have nothing to prove.
I call it the little man, right? So the little man is in your head and he says all these little things, right? But what I've learned is that, over the years, like whenever everyone has, and you cave into the little man and you're like, okay,
Oh
I'll
yeah.
listen to what he has to say, we're in. But the noise of that little man at that time makes a lot of sense. But the feeling of when you listen and you cave into that, the little man's talking to you in those moments for a few seconds, but the knowing that you've caved lasts you for years afterwards. It's like forever. I will know that I didn't do it the right way,
Yeah,
or
maybe
I
forever.
caved, or that moment, and that part stings so bad, way more than that little man or whatever. That little bit of joy or whatever by listening to that little man at that time. So I managed to. I think I'm pretty good at controlling that now, and so in this case, I turn it around. It's like the little man in my head now is like, "Come on, let's throw something else at me. Let's do this because, man, this is going to be good. Because you know what, my story is going to be even better after this. No matter what happens, like the more stuff that goes bad, everyone wants a good story, and it's like it's just adding another element. So switching the mindset to go, well, let's embrace this stuff, welcome them, like bring it on. I think is a really, really powerful one. And once you tell yourself that's how you're thinking, it's like, right, man, like the idea of giving up now is just laughable. Like we're punching this out.
If it's like if he's not there, you're not really pushing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like that's like if you can see it in that moment as like, dude, this is the best validation you're ever gonna get.
Yeah.
This temptation, this whisper of sweet misery that's like, it's okay, just quit. That temptation, that's validation. That is validating your work.
Yep.
That is your body trying to say, please stop, or the little man, like you said, saying, come on, just stop.
Yep.
Like we're overworking here. But if in those moments, like you can see that into anyone else to say like that voice, that's the pat on the back.
Yeah.
That's the attaboy. It's not going to be this, oh my God, I broke through and this is amazing. Like, no, you're going to get this, hey, you should quit. Just give in. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. Yeah. I love that, though, but then you start looking for them.
And then, like, I think a lot of the people, even with sort of marathon training, that like you think, okay, the hard part's pushing in when you're stinging and it's really hurting and we're going to go like that. I mean, that is hard. But the other part is it's like I'd have to do my runs before my kids get up because I'm a dad and like I'm trying to fit this in around my normal day. As long as I dedicate my life to it. So it was like, then what's the time of day I can actually run? So I get up 4 a.m. I get up and do it. And so remember, I did it in spring, so I did all my training through winter. So you're getting near, like I've got photos of me with like it's 3 degrees outside, and so it's those moments of like it's not the push part, it's that moment where you're lying in bed, you're comfortable, it's 4 a.m, it's dark, and there's frost everywhere, it might be raining, and you go, I'm getting out of bed, like I'm getting this, I'm doing it today. Like they're the bits, and they're the bits you get that little tap on the back after you do it. You're like, man, I crushed it today. Because I may not have run that well, but you know what? I didn't give in to the little man and I got out of bed and I just turned up, and turning up is like everything. So you train your mind, like on the event, it was like, well, every one of those days that I got out of bed when I didn't want to, like as if I'm going to stop running on day 4 of a marathon now, because I've done, a few months of, not taking the easy option. Like we're not giving it now. Like we're there.
Of course. So you get through that day 4.
Yep.
We're going to bed trying to, right? Like you talked about, the ketones are firing, the cortisol's through the fucking roof, right? Like you're wired. Take us through that final night before day 5 and then through the race. And then what was it like to finish? Was there people there? Did you have media? Was there media? Like was the secret out kind of that people know what was going on?
A couple of things. So let's start with the night before. So one of the sins I did make during my during the week was I took an anti-inflammatory, which because of the joint pain, and like in my head it was like, right, just dull the pain there and I'll just keep going. Now what I learned was that one of the side effects of taking anti-inflammatory is it can make you retain water in your body. So the night before my final marathon, I actually weighed as much as what I did before I started all 5 marathons. And I'm like, this isn't right. Like, this is not good. And I was puffy and I was like, man, this is not right. Don't know what's going on. So I call up Dr. Paul Mason. I'm like, mate, what's going on here? This is not right. He's like, whoa, this is bad. he says, what you need to do is, so I'm wearing like the compression pants. He's like, right, tonight we need to drain that fluid out of your legs. So I spent the night, call it sleeping, which was lying on my back with my feet in the air, like just like this, and just draining them out. So it was kind of, I felt like Chuck Norris sort of waiting for dawn. There was no sleep going on. It was just like, let's just drain this out. And I lost 2 kilos overnight just from all that fluid. So not the best preparation for, preparing to run any marathon, let alone having done 4 and then, busting out the 5th. But look, we got to the next morning, and by then my legs were pretty busted. I'm pretty much sprained ankles by then. And it was probably one of my favorite moments was getting to that start line and go, you know what? Like, I've earned so much to earn the right to be at this start line. Like, everyone else here is fresh. They're all ready to go. I've done, it's 170 Ks, which is about 110 miles to be standing next to everyone else here. And now we're going to go toe to toe. Not that I ever thought I'm ever going to beat anybody, but it's that moment. Like, you got to tell yourself these things and go, okay, like, I've done some serious work to get here. But also the excitement of knowing that the finish line on that day is the official finish line. Like, we're done. Like, we're there. Like, every day you finish a marathon, you're like, oh, hang on, but I've got to roll it out again. So there was some excitement around that. So, but the event is massive. There's like 30,000 people running the marathon. It's huge. So like the buzz and the atmosphere, and mentally it was like, right, get to that start line and all of this excitement's going to get me home. So It was intentional that I did my 5th as the official marathon rather than the first, because I didn't want like that, call it Friday night fever of a boys' weekend, where it's like, right, I went a bit hard early and then we're gassed. It was like, right, I want to finish strong. So that was great, because as you're running along, people around, I wear a shirt that kind of spelled out what I was doing, 5 marathons, 5 days fasted. So people were running next to me like, man, that's really cool. Like, when did you do that? I'm like, I'm doing it. They're like, seriously? And but that was so much fun. So you'd have a chat and people would kind of rally around you. So I loved it. I really enjoyed that run. And then finishing, I finished. I didn't know, but I had sort of friends and family meeting me at the end. And I've got some awesome footage on my website of it was the announcer of the official Sydney Marathon as I've come around the straight, announcing, me crossing the finish line and what I did. And literally within 10 seconds of running across the finish line, he's thrown a microphone in my hand. He's like, yeah, tell us all about it. I was like, yeah, okay. So, but it's also a useful example of, look, I wasn't limping over the line. Like, I wasn't busted. I wasn't off with the fairies or whatever. So I chatted for a couple of minutes with him, and all of that, again, everyone can watch to gauge like my mental space around then and, where we were. So I do want to strike out that look, okay, you're a freak athlete for whatever reason, so I don't want to try because I'm not a freak athlete, so I don't want to become fat adapted, that sort of thing. It's like, no, I'm an ordinary guy. I've just punched it out. I had to lift. I had to do something hard, but and I did it, call it pretty, like my body was broken, but mentally super sharp. I had no issues with any of that. And honestly, the hunger wasn't that bad, even with the barbecue on the day 4. Like, I never really got past if you call it 10, it's like I'm ravenously hungry, and a 0, I'm, not even on the radar. Most I got was about day 2, maybe day 3 was like a 3 out of 10. That was about it. And that would be every day I'd record it. And it's like, okay, if I ask you to say, don't think of an elephant, what are you going to think of? It's like, don't think of hunger. Am I hungry or not? Yeah, that's the only time it would hit my radar. Yeah. So, but yeah, really exciting finish. And yeah, it was a really most amazing feeling of my life, I have to say. Like, in terms of that personal achievement, it was huge.
God, I imagine, man. You paint a picture really well, so I can feel it for sure. Mm-hmm. How long after the race did you eat? And then what did you eat? What was that meal? And what was it like?
So before I did this, I teed up with my butcher. I bought like the biggest tomahawk steak, like, call it, it was like 1.5 kilos. So what's that? So like 3 pounds or something. Oh, yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm going to absolutely destroy this thing pretty much 10 minutes after I cross that finish line, because I'll be ravenously hungry. I finished the race, and I was like, I'm not even hungry at all. Like, not even close. It was a bit of a fizzer, really, because I was like, I bought this steak, and I was like, I'm not going to do it justice. Yeah. And then, so I finished the race at sort of, call it 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or 1 or 2, whenever it was, early afternoon. And I didn't eat until about 6 o'clock that night. And even then I was like, right, I can't touch the steak. I'm just not even it's not going to be worth it. Like, oh, let's save it for when I'm hungry. And I had a couple of hamburger patties and 3 eggs, and I couldn't finish it. Like, I was just, it was bizarre. And it took probably 2 or 3 days to get my appetite back. Like,
Yeah.
2 hamburger patties and 3 eggs. Like, I'd eat 6 hamburger patties and 8 eggs in a normal sitting, right? Easily. So for me, it was bizarre. And the only reason I ate that night wasn't because of a hunger signal. It was like the logic of, hey, mate, you haven't eaten for 5 days. You probably should. But there was no signal to tell me to do so, which I was just like, I'm just telling how it is. I'm not saying it's the right way. It's just, I just didn't feel it. Like, I wasn't hungry. So yeah, I think that surprises a lot of people. It's like, and definitely surprised me.
Heck yeah, man. Like you hit the nail on the head saying, I felt like I should eat because, hey, mate, you haven't eaten in 5 days. You should eat.
Yeah.
You should be hungry. But like you said, you didn't have hunger. You didn't have the signal of hunger. Like, that's, I think, one of the hardest things for people to accept in the fat adapted world, and particularly if it's a mono eating or carnivore diet, where your own body's feelings are going to be the hardest part about the diet. It's not about the discipline of adhering to it or the quote sacrifices or decisions you make of doing this or not going to those places. It's trusting your own damn feelings.
Yeah.
Because they're going to, argue or be contrary to what your beliefs are and to what your thought patterns are. Even like you said, your thoughts were saying, I should be eating. I should be hungry. This is weird that I'm not. But your fucking body, as perfectly in tune as it was at that time, which it probably never was like that in your life. It was never that acutely sensed, never that like humming and just in perfect clarity and harmony, is saying, we're not hungry. Yet there's the mind going, we should be eating. This is not good. Like, that's the drive home that I think everybody should understand, and that you don't have to run 5 marathons in 5 days fasted to understand that, because we all go through it every single day. Hey, you guys want to go get some food? Yeah, sure. Without even thinking, we say yes. Hey, you want to get a meal? Yeah, let's do it. Are you even hungry? Or are you just going with the flow? Are you just conditioned? Are you just in this habit? Are you just bored? Are you mourning? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you celebrating? Are you whatever? Are you just doing it to do it, As opposed to having that real just, indecisiveness, not indecisiveness, but like you were so sure and certain you weren't hungry, but here are these, whispers saying like, we should eat. This is weird. Like, but yet your own feelings are telling you, no, man, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, the bit I'd add to that is, like, your average person eating the SAD diet, the standard American diet, they're going to have those hunger signals every hour, like 2 hours after eating, because they kick in. So the idea of not worrying about hunger is like foreign, because it is every 2 hours it's going to kick in. It is actual thing. So part of my message is like, don't just stick with the fasting element, what I've done, or like eat the standard American diet and then go, right, I'm going to apply or do what I try and do what I did. It's like, no, you're missing the point. You got to get all of that stuff right first, get your body adapted, and then all of that other stuff just becomes really, really natural. So you can now, on a standard American diet, you've been shortcutting all of your body's signals around satiety and your hunger. So now you're not shortcutting anything. Your body's working as it should, and you can actually rely on those. So that's the part that's really liberating. It's like, right, there's less mental push around, I have to eat or stretch out. Like, okay, I won't snack today because I need to get through to lunch because, I'm being good, so to speak. It just becomes so natural. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Amen. Well, 5 marathons in 5 days fasted. So what do you do now, Alex? What have you done since, and what are you doing next? I mean, where do you go? Where do you go from there? Shit.
Where do you go from here? Well, look, I'd love to chase that feeling again of like just what I've learned is, like, the most satisfying things you ever do, the things that you're most proud of, and you ask anyone this, what are you most proud of? They're not going to tell you the easiest thing they did. They're not going to say like this amazing holiday where I lay on the beach, or like, it's not that. It was something really hard that they did that they pushed themselves, and that's a genuine satisfaction and genuine joy when you do get that. So I'm a very big believer now, having done this, like, the genuine joy in life doesn't come from the easy stuff. It's like hard work is I call it the joy is dressed in, disguised in hard work. So it's like, right, how do I chase this? Or like, how do I do this again? So again, don't take the easy option and like, what are we going to do? So for me, look, I've never run a proper marathon. As silly as that sounds, it's like, well, maybe I should try and do a quick one and see how we go. Like, just because, I've never trained for that specifically, never done it. Just another thing that I could do. So that could be something fun. But it kind of gets your mind sort of ticking over. It's like, what other things can we do? Like, given you put something on someone's radar that they thought was impossible, it's like, well, where can we go with this? And even more exciting is, look, where could others take it? Like, give me a genuine runner that is like an absolute beast, and they apply these principles. Like, how far could they push that? And like, I'm so excited about that, and I'm hoping what I've done gives them, that courage to be able to just try it. Because people say, oh no, people haven't done it, the numbers aren't there, no one's ever done this. I'm like, yeah, you're talking about billions of people that have done it in the carb loading world over the last sort of 40, 50 years. And it's a handful of people that have even toyed in the fat adapted. So just on the like the law of numbers there, like the sheer weight of numbers, the idea of blowing it away when you've only had a handful of people ever try, it's like, okay, come on, let's give it some time. Someone's going to do some stuff, and look, one step at a time. This isn't possible. Okay, we're not going to do it. A fast marathon's not possible until someone does it, and then just keep working. So I'm hoping I'm that one step closer for someone else to then take that next next step to really go, okay, let's just keep pushing, because man, it's fascinating. Man, our bodies are amazing, so like, let's use them. Like, and I'd like to say just wear it out, like just use it. I'd hate to be lying, on my deathbed and go, you know what, I just didn't give it everything.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. God, that's awesome. I mean, it hits home for me hard. It makes me think, like, this guy's blazing the trail. He carried the torch, and the first thing he wants to do is hand it off, in the sense of like, no, somebody else do it. Somebody else try it. Like, I'll keep doing it, but like you said, I'd love to see somebody else go. I mean, the selflessness that's in that, man, as opposed to, standing on the top of the mountain, beating your chest and saying, fuck the world. It's only me up here. You're just looking down. You're like, guys, come up here with me. Like, join me up here. Like, it's a beautiful place to be. That's awesome, man.
So look, I'm happy to go back and go back into the shadows and be myself again in my world. But it's what I did is a way to get the message out there, and like, to be able to meet people like yourself and the guys that I've met just through doing this has been really great, because it captures people's attention. And look, what have I got out of it? It's like meeting amazing people. Like, they're inspiring me as much as anything. And look, I'm just trying to get more out of life by doing it. It's been the most satisfying thing I've ever done. And for so many reasons that are not like trying to get records or any of that sort of stuff. Like, they're kind of meaningless accolades to me. It's like, right, there's some cool stuff here that people aren't aware of. Open their eyes. And, I'd love, for me, the most satisfaction is getting a message from someone that goes, you know what, I gave that a go and I crushed it. Like, it was the best. Like, I loved it. You solved my problems. Like, running marathons or whatever it was, I have gut issues because I was trying to jam all this food in or running on a full stomach all the time. It's like so liberating. Like, I smashed it, did the best time or whatever. I don't care. And whether it's, I've got more energy to play with my kids or like that sort of stuff. I don't care what it is, how you apply it, whether it's in like an athletic endeavor or just in general life. To be able to give people that knowledge and the courage to go, well, you know what, let's just give it a go and like, let's do this, and not give it a go for a day, like commit for a month and go, right, let's do the time to actually get there, to see what it's like on the other side of being fat adapted and moving away from being so reliant on carbohydrates. Because I'm telling you, it is, well, as you know, Jake, like it's really just, it's like liberating. Like, it's like, how do you go back? You can't.
Yeah, man. Amazing. Where do we find you, Alex? Where do we look you up? Where can we read more?
You can find me. I've got a website, ketomarathons.com. So I have everything on there, including, we didn't chat about it, but I do have a lot of data. So I tracked everything that I did just purely to be able to say, look, this is what happens to your body, and answer a lot of those questions around, I don't want to just rely on your opinion. So please go there. I've got a write-up on every marathon I did, including some, all my diet and, sorry, not diet, like diet going into it, but all my data. and some embarrassing photos of me that there's definitely no filters or anything on any of that stuff. I couldn't care less. But so ketomarathons.com. You can follow me on socials. I am still posting on socials, mainly on Insta. So handle is at keto marathons. And also on X, keto_marathons. Instagram's probably my favorite. And yeah, just trying to get sort of more messages out there and really providing so much information around how I did it and what I did that it becomes irrefutable that, look, it's a real thing. And I didn't just wing it. Like there's a lot of work that's gone into it. And I've got some heavy hitters on my side too, like in terms of the medical space, some athletes as well, to provide that credibility that, look, I'm not a guy looking for clicks, couldn't care less. But if I get more followers or whatever it is, it's not for followers' sake. It means that I've got my message out there more. And the more people that understand what I did, they want to have a chat and they want to talk about it. And look, it's getting it on people's radar, which is a healthy way, because the world's sick, like they are, like it's getting worse. So I'm hoping what I've done can, buck the trend a little bit, push against that, and get people moving in the right direction.
Yeah, well, you definitely are, man. I mean, that's how I found you. That's how we came to talk, and just seeing what, like you said, talked about other people reaching out to you in the lives that have already been impacted because of what you did. It speaks for itself. So for everybody else, we'll have all of Alex's social channels and his website there in the show notes. And for sure, man, thank you so much for being here with us today,
Oh, it's
Alex,
been an
and
absolute
talking,
pleasure. Thank you.
just sharing
Thank
a
you.
little
Keep
bit
doing what
about your
you're doing.
story. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, wheels are already turning in my head of like, maybe do 7 for 7 or something like that. Like to think like
Yeah.
he's talking about it, and it immediately gets the layers peeling in my mind to think like
Yeah.
that could be fun. But
Perfect. For me, that's job
yeah,
done. That's like, okay, that's good. Plant the seed and everyone run with it. Let's see what we can do. Because I'd love to have
yeah,
like the catalog of all these amazing people doing amazing things, because they took that moment of inspiration and went, you know what, we're going to do this. And I'm like, that's great. Like, let's just
heck
get the
yeah,
wheels in motion.
heck yeah, man. Well, thank you again for being here today, Alex, and for staying up with us. I know it's late over there for you, and for everybody else. Thank you all for tuning into another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid. Hopefully you got something today that'll keep you not being so afraid, so dumb, and, you know, so ill. I'm Jake Thomas. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.